God not making any more land. So the more you own real estate, the more you own the world.
Terence "Bud" Crawford, thanks for being here with us today.
Appreciate it.
We're just a few months removed from arguably the biggest fight of your career. Obviously, beat Canelo in Las Vegas. I'm curious, how you feeling? What's your mindset like?
I'm feeling great. That was a great night. History was definitely made on that night, and I'm feeling great. Nothing is really different in my life.
Now that you've beaten Spence and Canelo, those two obviously huge fights, I'm curious, do you feel like you've reached a new level of your career?
Of course, I definitely feel like after this Canelo fight, you know, my stock, my everything have went up.
Getting to 42-0, no easy task, but it does seem like, the world's taken a little while to catch up on your excellence in the ring. And I'm curious, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's taken so long for the world to catch up?
Well, I think the world took a little time to catch up because I wasn't flashy and boisterous. I think my quietness and uh, shyness away from the cameras had led me to not pick up so many fans because they want to see entertainment before the ring and outside the ring. And I give them the excitement in the ring. So I do what I'm supposed to do. And I just think they just kind of wanted a little more or wanted somebody that was more out there, I suppose.
You keep a low profile, like you say. Throughout your career, though, there are points where, whether it was, you didn't get the big fights or you didn't necessarily, promoters didn't think you were so bankable. Do you feel like that hindered you in a way? Do you feel like that prevented you from kind of taking that leap that we're seeing now?
I think people that say the proter the promoters that say I couldn't sell or uh, bring a lot of people to the fights is just was a tactic that they got from my previous promoter, which said that because I was leaving his company, um, which said that, but from every fight, from Gamboa to Ndongo to whoever it was in Jeff Horn in Vegas, New York, Omaha, it was 12,000 plus in all those fights. So for a person that couldn't sell, I sure was selling more than anybody else in his stable at that time.
I mean, after Canelo, like, you got to be pretty bankable, right? Do you see yourself as kind of arguably one of the, if not the most bankable fighter in boxing now?
I would say that, if you look online, you'll see everybody and their mama calling me out. Now, now everybody want to fight Terence Crawford, but
Yeah.
where was all this energy when Terence Crawford was wanting to fight everybody and nobody wanted to fight me? Nobody wanted to give me a shot. Where was all that energy? But now this everybody want to fight me now because the tides have changed.
Let's go back in time a little bit. You grew up on the north side of Omaha. Curious, what was your childhood like? How would you describe that?
It was cool. My childhood was cool. Definitely got in a little trouble here and there, but you know, um, we made it. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the north side of Omaha, does, have a reputation of being kind of a tougher area. Did you feel like, you kind of experienced that during your childhood?
for sure, it was definitely tough. Going to school was tough. The kids around was tough. You had to be tough. You had to have tough skin to be able to survive through the storm. You know, uh, Especially hanging out with the people that I was hanging out with. Um, you know, Getting into the things that we was getting into, and one thing led to another. You got a couple of friends dead, you got friends in jail, and that's life.
Did you struggle financially growing up? Did you feel like, you had to get through a lot of tough financial times?
Oh, of course, of course. That's North Omaha for you. This is a community that's basically ran on poverty, and Section 8 and welfare, things like that. So you see a lot of kids, that don't have as much as the next kid, and that becomes a problem because now those fortunate kids more fortunate kids is making fun of the less fortunate kids, and that becomes a problem. And now you got kids fighting and kids shooting, and kids doing the things that, you know, um, is crazy to do. And
What was your relationship with your parents like? Especially considering like where you've gotten today, I'm sure, they had to make a lot of sacrifices along the way.
well, my mom was my best friend, but my mom was so tough on me. She was so tough on me, like she built tough skin within me. And my dad, he was in the military, and he was gone, but he was always supportive. He was always, telling me I'm gonna be world champion, I'm gonna make it. And my mama be the one like, he ain't gonna be shit. You know what I mean? But given my mom, she knew how to get to me. She knew that I had the heart of a lion, that anything she told me I couldn't do, I was gonna try to prove her wrong because I always wanted that validation from her. So it was a great tactic.
Guys still close today?
Yeah, I see her every day.
That's great. Who had the bright idea to put boxing gloves in your hands?
My mom, I went home one day and told her that this guy was trying to talk to me. He was in a van and he was talking about boxing, and I ran home and I'm telling my mom, and as I'm telling her the story, he knocking on my door, and he comes in and my whole family greets him. And I'm like, this the dude I'm telling y'all about. And they like, oh, Carl, your dad, your uncle, and them used to box for him. And I was just like, oh, okay, okay. So he wasn't lying when he was talking about boxing. And then he asked me, did I want to box? And my mom looked at me and she said, do you? I said, I'll try it. And that's how I started boxing.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
W- When did you know you were better than everyone else? When did you really start to feel like you were standing out?
When I first got there, the first day, I always felt that. I always felt that I was the best at anything that I tried to do. When I first went to the gym, I remember like it was yesterday. I'm trying to spar. I'm trying to get in the ring and fight. I want to fight. I want to.
How old were you?
I was 7. I was too young to even have a fight. I'm like, I want to fight. Y'all brought me down here to fight. I want to fight. They like, hold on, little guy. You gotta be in the gym and you gotta learn how to box, and you gotta wait till you 8 years old for you to even fight, and this and that and this. But the more I trained, the more I was coming to the gym. They throw me in there with some 8-year olds, some 9-year olds, and I hold my own. And it was just like, man, this little dude tough, So when I got a little older, it just me progressing and getting better and better.
What do you think your breakthrough moment was?
I think my breakthrough in the amateurs or pro.
Both. Let's start with amateurs.
I think my amateur breakthrough was when I came back to the gym in 2002. Because I was going away from the gym for like 5 years because I got kicked out the gym. So I went to football, basketball, and wrestling and things like that.
Why'd you get kicked out of the gym?
Not listening, not
Right.
listening, and just hard headed. So when I came back older, more mature, um, with my mindset that I'm gonna do something different this time than I did the last times. Cause I got kicked out twice.
How old were you at this point?
I was probably like 8, 9.
Gotcha. And then professionally, fast forward, what was the breakthrough moment there?
My breakthrough moment was when I left Top Rank. Once I left Top Rank, that's when the rise of Terence Crawford happened.
You've said publicly before your first pro fight, you made $600 for, which kind of in the scheme of things is just tiny compared today. 7 or 8 years later, you start landing 7-figure purses. I believe Hank Lundy and Victor Postel were the first $2 million ones. What did it mean to you reach that level?
Oh, it meant everything. You know, uh, it's crazy because coming up, I would have always think the champion was making millions of dollars, not knowing that they wasn't. I was always like, since these guys on TV, they making this crazy amount of money, but it's never like that. It never was like that. So when I fought Ricky Burns in Scotland and won my first title, I come back home and I got to fight Gamboa. I'm thinking they're gonna pay me like $1 million.
Yeah.
Nah. So I'm like, what? You know, I just fought this dude. I just went over there. And I'm
You
like,
remember
all
what the
right.
purse was?
It was like 500,000.
For champion?
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, you know, because that's the type of person that I am. I believe in myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna knock him off, and then my next fight, I'm gonna get more.
Yeah.
So, you know, he can't stop me.
Yeah.
So that's how I went
Find
about it.
anything fun with when you started getting those $1 million purses?
Nah, I didn't. You know, my first big check, I tried to buy my mama a house. You know, she didn't. Me and my mama ain't going nowhere. I said, I don't know why. You know, like let me get y'all up out there. And shit, you know. I said, all right, man. Bought me a house. I fixed their house up. Like, hey,
Yeah.
if y'all not gonna move, I'm gonna gut it, remodel it. You know, so I bought the house, not next door, but the house next to the house next door, which I own all of them now. I moved them out that house, put them in that house, and just redid the whole house. Y'all want to live in here? Then I'm gonna gut it out and make it more livable. Well, better livable.
Yeah, of course. No, makes total sense. Obviously, the purses have changed quite a bit as you've climbed the ranks, and now you're kind of at the top of the sport. I do want to set the record straight, though. So before the Canelo fight, you had told people in the press that you were going to get $10 million for that, and some people in the industry kind of were like scoffed at that mark, like, "No way! This is such a big fight. He's getting more and more and more." So
Mhm.
let's set the record straight here, okay? All in, bonuses, everything. What'd you take home from Canelo?
$5 million.
All right, all right. That's fair. But Canelo was your biggest payday ever, right? Is that fair to say?
You could say that,
You could say that?
but I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are people so obsessed with pocket watching?
I this is the Forbes mentality.
That's right. That's right. I love it though. I love it. You
Yeah,
know, because they'll never get their true answer from me.
of course, there's only a few people who know, right?
Right.
So, um, Spence too, though, like, competing for a purse of that size, was that eye-opening? I mean, reports, again, like,
Definitely, definitely.
sure you won't tell me reports had it out there as 25 million, but to get to that level, like, is that just eye-opening when you think about where you were?
For sure. For sure. Especially, you know, given what I was making prior to that, you know. So it was definitely an eye opener. I'm my own boss. I don't gotta pay nobody. I'm banking on myself and doing it my way. And it was everything about it was, you know, different.
Let's talk about what you're doing with all this money. Obviously, you've kind of become pretty active as an investor. I'm curious, where did you pick up financial literacy? How did you learn what to do with your money?
So just building those relationships with people that have money and been around money and know how to handle money and getting the knowledge and wisdom to know what to do with it. That's how I got into it.
Who are your mentors? Who are these people that are kind of giving you this advice or kind of teaching you these things?
Well, Jamie Nolet, my fourth grade teacher, she introduced me to this guy named Al. You know, he was definitely mentoring me for a period of time. Uh, Introduced me to a couple of people, and a couple of people introduced me to some more people. And
Yeah.
now I'm in a room with uh, individuals that got way more money than me. Some had less money, but they all was in it for the same reason. And that's to gain the knowledge and the tutelage of expanding they wealth.
When it comes to investing, Are you the kind of guy who likes to take big swings, or do you kind of look towards more steady things? How would you describe your investing
I'm
profile?
a steady type of guy.
Steady returns?
Steady. I don't want to take no chances. I take too many chances in the ring. So, if I can keep it like this, then I know it's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, but I know it's, there.
There's another guy who likes to take steady returns in Omaha. I think you know him. His name's Warren Buffett. Um, just having someone like that, a figure in your hometown, like does that inspire you? Is his presence like something that you kind of look to for guidance, advice?
Well, Warren's a great guy outside of him being a billionaire.
Yeah,
Um, the advice that he gave me when I talked to him, it wasn't much, but it was something, you know. And being around him is definitely motivating, because you get to see how you can have everything in the world, but you don't gotta be, you know, out there. You can just be simple and live your life how you want to live it. So he's definitely, a person that I look up to that's surrounded himself with a lot of smart people to gain a lot.
yeah, yeah. No, guys definitely seem to have similar mentalities. One thing you're very active in is you're a real estate investor. Have around 80-ish properties. Why do you like investing in real estate? Why has that become such a popular vehicle for you?
I think, my thing is God not making any more land. So the more you own real estate, the more you own the world. When you look at all these billionaires, Bill Gates and all these people, Bill Gates own thousands and thousands of acres in Nebraska. They come and buy up all this land and, you know, eh, what can anybody else do with it if somebody else owns it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just always believe that we all need a place to stay. That's evident. So why not have the person that's given a place to stay be me?
Yeah. No, I think that makes perfect sense. Among your properties, you have a lot in North Omaha. You're in Kansas City, Colorado. You've got residential houses, apartment complexes, farmland, storefront. What are you looking for when you're scouting prospective properties? Like what kinds, like what pieces matter to you?
Well, my thing is it depends on the location and what the location is missing or what they have that you can counter off of. When I look at locations, I say, okay, this location got gas stations, it got, McDonald's, Burger Kings, it's got everything around here, but it's no houses.
Yeah.
It's a lot of jobs around here, but it's no houses and no apartments. So you kind of want to put something there to make a little community and make things, worth going to. And maybe you put a grocery store there. Maybe you just put houses there, but you got to know the location that you try to invest in, and then you go from there.
You've had all the success in the world, can live anywhere you want. You've chosen to remain in Omaha. Why do you want to remain so close to where you're from?
Because I think being here at home give these kids, and not just the kids, the people here, hope that anything's possible. I say that a lot because I really mean that. When you see all the people that came out of Omaha, Nebraska, North Omaha, 24th Street, let alone, you'll be amazed how many people made it and never came back, never looked back, never tried to pull nobody up out of Omaha and try to help nobody. No, no, nothing. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
When you go to these other cities, people are so proud to be where they from.
Yeah.
They wear it with high regards. I'm from such and such. I'm from such and such. But unfortunately, when you come from a small town compared to those bigger cities like Omaha, sometimes people be ashamed to say where they from. So that's why I stay here.
Yeah.
So I can pull the ones up behind me so I'm not the only one.
Obviously, like we're in your gym here. I'm curious, what kind of impact on the community do you feel you've made by remaining here, by investing in this community?
Oh, tremendous impact. You know, I'm creating jobs for people around. I'm creating safe environments for them to bring their kids and for them to come to as well. I'm providing shelter for people that live in my houses, um, as well as the apartments. Um, so everything that I'm doing in the community is not only for me; it's for them as well.
Another question on Omaha's other famous resident, Warren Buffett, I should say famous, not only famous resident. Uh, you famously took a picture with him where you put him in a headlock. Why did that happen?
He just told me to put him in a headlock because we was about to take a picture, and he was just like, "All right, I got an idea." I was like, he was like, I was like, "What up?" He was like, "Let's just do something crazy. Just put me in a headlock." Put you in a headlock. He was like, "Yeah, just put me in a headlock." So I was like, "All right." So it was a good picture.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, another thing you guys have in common, Buffett's known as a value investor. This sense of pragmatic frugality. You spoke to the Wall Street Journal a couple of years ago, and you just simplified it to "we're both cheap." Is that something you model after him? Is that from your own experience? How does that arise?
I think that just been me my whole life. I always save money. Thinking one day I might not be able to do what I was doing to make money or for a rainy day.
Yeah,
You never know. So I would just always save money, but just saving money ain't making money.
yeah.
So I was taught to make money while you sleeping. Your money is making money. So that's how I got into financial literacy and stock markets and, you know, real estate and things like that.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting them again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would wanna get back in the ring with you, or do you think it's better for him to just kinda, or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else because my style is just, you know, a bad matchup for him.
Yeah.
Now, financially wise, I would be like, yeah, he should fight me. But like on the outside looking in, knowing boxing, you can really get hurt. So I would just tell him like, if you're gonna continue to fight, don't don't get in the ring with a
Yeah,
guy like me.
yeah. There's a popular adage in sports that kinda gets reused over again. It's kinda cliché, "Father Time is undefeated." You're 38 years old. We see a lot of athletes now go into the late 30s and 40s and produce at a high level. How much longer do you wanna do this?
I don't know.
No clue yet? Did beating Canelo make you think about those next steps in any way, or
Before Canelo, I was thinking about a lot, and I'm still thinking about it a lot. I just haven't made my final decision.
Yeah.
But once I make it, I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna make it here soon.
How important would it be to you to retire undefeated, like greats like Floyd Mayweather, Rocky Marciano? Like, what would that mean to you?
It means a lot to to be able to sit there amongst a few athletes, that came out of the sport of boxing and say, I never lost.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task to do. So to be able to walk next to those individuals is a blessing in its own right.
Did you ever dream of fighting someone like Mayweather or Pacquiao, greats who overlap?
Pacquiao, yeah, I was supposed to fight Pacquiao for years. I think they was just dangling that carrot over my head, but Mayweather, nah, never.
Disappointed the Pacquiao thing never came through? Or
Definitely was disappointed. Definitely was disappointed given the fights that he had over me and the fighters that they allow him to fight instead of me. Yeah, definitely disappointed.
when you do eventually reach that point where you're hanging up the boxing gloves, what kind of goals do you have for the rest of your life? What business goals? What do you want to accomplish outside the ring once you are done with that moment in your life?
I think I wanna, dive in real estate heavier. I think, I can make some big moves in Omaha and around the country in real estate. As long as I do it right and everything will be good.
The last thing I wanna ask you, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think when you talk about Terence Crawford, you're gonna talk about how great of a father he is. You're gonna talk about how great of a boxer he was. You're gonna say how humble he was. You're gonna say how caring he was, what he did for the community, what he did for people that he didn't know. There's gonna be a lot of things that they're gonna say about Terence Crawford, and it's all gonna be true. Some might not, but most of it is gonna be true if we been honest about who Terence Crawford really is. And that's that. I'm gonna let my actions with my children speak for me.
Terence Crawford, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.